guys, this is Carolyn Cope from Bridge Marketing, and I'm going to show you how to read a proposal. So what you're looking at here is a proposal that we created for an advertiser out of Peoria, Illinois. The advertiser is Girl Scouts of Central Illinois. And when you look at a proposal that we send over to you, the top section is basically all of the information that you provided to us when you submitted your proposal request through the portal. So we have the date that we created it for you, the campaign is the name of the client, the estimated budget level or investment level that your client can commit to on a per month basis. We have the geography that you provided, the target audience that we pulled from our database, and then we have the audience size, which is how many people in our database fit the description that you provided us with, and then the count ID. Usually the count ID will just be one number and it'll be a 5 or a 6-digit number, but sometimes if the geography includes multiple cities or locations, we'll have to pull multiple different counts and then combine them. So that's why in this example, there are more than one count IDs. The count ID is actually important because when you close the sale or when your client agrees to move forward with this campaign and you need to fill out the insertion order, we want to make sure that we're using the exact same audience that you sold to your client when we create the campaign. And that's why you'll need to indicate the count ID on the insertion order when you submit your order. So right now, the count ID isn't very important to you, but if you close the sale, you will need it. So make sure that you keep this somewhere. On the right, you'll see this black, gray, and pink shaded area. This should never be shown to a client. So you want to make sure you remove this. If you're going to forward this off to a client, you want to hide this section. Because this is what shows the hard cost information. This is what Bridge is going to invoice Cumulus for when we bill you for this campaign if it does close. So you want to make sure that we're not sharing this information with any of your clients or advertisers. And that's why we clearly wrote internal here in dark letters so that you know not to share this information with any of your advertisers. Then we have the meat of the recommendation. This is the actual media strategy that we are recommending to you. And this is based on a combination of our system. After we pull that target audience group, our system has the ability to identify channels that are more likely to work the best for this particular audience. And it also incorporates our own personal experience and expertise and recommendations. So we combine those two forms of knowledge, and then we create your media strategy that you can then recommend to your client. So basically, the different individual products or channels that we recommend including are listed here on the left. The time frame is the length that we envision this campaign running. So we always will send you a 1-month snapshot of what your campaign will look like. That way it's easier for you to understand how it's going to break out for your client on a monthly basis. You'll know what you're going to bill them monthly, you're going to know what's included monthly, what types of reports will be sent monthly. It's a lot easier to break it down on a monthly basis. But even if the campaign is a 6-month campaign, that would be great. But this is just a 1-month snapshot. So on a monthly basis, this is how many impressions they'll get. They'll be charged $3,500 a month. Cumulus will be charged $1,758 a month, and you would just run this over and over again for 6 months. And of course, we can make tweaks along the way if needed. If we find that one channel is performing better than the other, or maybe halfway through the campaign, your client creates video content and we want to include video pre-roll or OTT, or maybe they decide to do radio, and now we can incorporate programmatic audio. So we can always make adjustments after the campaign has gone live. It does not have to be exactly the same every month. This is just the starting point that we suggest. So the products are on the left. You can see here we have people-based marketing email. Whenever you see PBM, by the way, that stands for people-based marketing, and it basically means that we are targeting consumers in this audience group. We are going to target consumers within our database And all of these ads will go to the 47,425 individuals that we pulled from our database. Some products, as you know, do not target the database. So if there are any products under the summary and it does not say PBM, that means we are not serving them to the people within the database group. We are just serving them to consumers across the internet that we feel are relevant based on cookie tracking and recent behaviors that they have indicated to us with their internet activity. We have creative specs so that you know if your client decides to move forward and they need to know what types of ads to create. If they are sending over the ads, you have all the specs right here, so you can give them exactly the ad sizes that we need for each product. And then we show you the number of impressions for each channel. So we're doing 2 emails. Each email is going to include 47,425 recipients. The desktop display is going to include 60,000 impressions. Mobile and mobile interstitial ads are going to include 100,000 impressions. The Facebook newsfeed and Instagram will include 25,000 impressions. Creative encoding services, and then we will also include a cross-device pixel and a matchback report at no cost. You'll also see all of the tracking and reporting that's included down here at the bottom, so that you'll know each month your client's going to get an email report, a display and multi-channel report, the matchback, and the cross-device pixel tracking. An important thing that we added that I want to make sure everybody understands is the approximate ad frequency. So as you guys know, ad frequency is very important. You can't just serve an ad to somebody a couple of times and expect them to buy a product or convert. So as conversions become more complicated, we really need to make sure that the ad frequency is high enough to finally reach those conversion goals. Branding campaigns don't need as high of an ad frequency because there's no specific action or conversion that we're trying to get consumers to achieve. But if there's a conversion, especially if it's a complicated one, we really need to make sure that we have a decent ad frequency. The sweet spot, or the one that we always try to achieve, is around 10 ads per person. But depending on what the advertiser's budget is or specific products that they really want us to include, sometimes we need to sacrifice the ad frequency to make sure that we're satisfying the client in other ways. So this example is a good balance. We have a decent budget of $3,500 a month. We have a decent ad frequency of 6 per month, and we're using very engaging channels as well. We have 2 emails. We're using multi-channel or mobile ads and interstitial ads. We're also using social media. So these are very engaging channels. So this campaign should perform very well. It's also a branding campaign, which helps. But one thing I want to point out is how we calculate the ad frequency. The ad frequency is the number of ads we are serving divided by the number of people who are receiving all of those ads. So as you can see, if you look up in the formula bar up here at the top, it's calculated by taking the total number of impressions, 279,850, divided by the number of people we are reaching, 47,425. And that's how we got 6 ads per person. So everybody in this target audience group of 47,425 will be exposed to our ad on average 6 times each. It's not going to be exactly the same for every person. Some people might see the ad 7 times, some people might see the ad 5 times, but on average, it'll be 6 ads per person. For this proposal, we are including the email in the impressions total for the purpose of calculating the ad frequency. And the reason I want to point this out is because when you sell this based on the proposal, and then you submit an insertion order, on the insertion order, there are 2 sections. There's an email section and also a multi-channel section. And you want to make sure that on the email section, you tell us exactly how many emails we are deploying. And on the multi-channel section, you want to tell us how many multi-channel ads you're delivering. So you want to make sure when you get to that multi-channel section, don't put 279,850, because that's including the email impressions. It's including all of the number of times that somebody's going to see our ad, and that includes an email engagement. So when you fill out the IO and it asks for how many multi-channel impressions, you would want to write 185,000, because we're doing 60,000 desktop, 100,000 mobile, and 25,000 social. So don't get tripped up there, because if you put the wrong number on the insertion order, that's what we use when we build out your campaign. We always build campaigns based on the actual order form, not on the proposal. The order form is the order. That's what you are ordering, and that's what we are going to use as the contract and build out your campaign based on that information. So please pay attention to the total number of impressions and understand that the reason on the proposal why we include all of it is so that we can get an accurate understanding of what the ad frequency per person is. As long as you understand that, we should be good to go. And then obviously this section shows the MSRP. So we break out the value of what each product costs here. And then at the bottom, this is the final amount that we are going to invoice your client, $3,500 a month, which will always match what we write up here. And really that's it. As long as you understand really the most important parts, which are make sure that you do not share the internal section with your client, because that reveals the cumulus hard costs, and that could put you in a difficult conversation with your advertiser if you have to explain what this is. You want to make sure that you understand the impressions and the ad frequency, so that when you fill out the IO, you're communicating the email numbers on the email section of the IO and the multi-channel numbers on the multi-channel section of the IO, and then understand all of the products that we include in the campaign summary. If you do have any questions about any of the products, we do have other training videos where we talk through each one, and there's also several decks that we've created and one sheets. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Thanks, guys.